But you know what's not red is a couple of our picks, which we'll cover today. I'll also recap last week's Trump stocks. I'm going to fly through them. I do have to be off this call by about 10:45, so I'm going to cap it at 45 minutes. Normally we go about an hour or so. Let's see. Stacy says, "Hey Graham, I feel like Bitcoin and crypto have been less than stellar lately, even with all the hype. I think right now, Stacy, we're just waiting on that final affirmation of a strategic reserve. Everyone's kind of just in the waiting moment right now. Obviously, the new administration has been very active since the inauguration. Right now, we're just in that waiting zone. I bet you, Stacy, and this is my own opinion. I can't guarantee this, but the second it is announced, hopefully it is announced, and they start rolling out to the states, we're going to see it roll out through different countries really, really fast. And I would not be surprised if we blink and Bitcoin's at 125, 130s. That is if we get that positive news. Any time frame for that? Stacy, if I knew President Trump, I could call him and ask him, but unfortunately, I don't. It still seems very, very possible. It seems very likely, in my opinion, but not sure when it will happen. Bill, what do I think about doing wraps on any of the sports betting stocks? Sure, if you like them, let's look at DraftKings. It's kind of in a sideways channel, Bill. You could definitely trade it. I like to look for stocks that are going like this steadily. DraftKings is kind of like this. Let's see what Caesars. Caesars is down pretty bad too. But let's go ahead and dive in. Like I said, I've got a 45-minute time limit today, so I'm off at 10:45, so I'll fly through it. Stacy, what about now for a wrap order? We did that one. Let's see, when do they have earnings? They have earnings next week. I actually have one open on now. I've got two actually open on now. One from this class and one from the perfect income trade. Both are up about 100. One's up 122%. The other one's up 97%. So I really like that stock. But let's go ahead and look at the Telegram post of the week. This was yesterday. It really wasn't so much the Telegram post of the week. We covered ANET in last week's session and the week before. Said it was a great stock to buy. I also posted it in the Monday picks. It was up 7% yesterday. It was not an earnings move or anything like that. So just a really good, strong, bullish stock. We started trading the stock a little over a year ago. I think it was in the 40s. That was pre-split. Um, I mean, that's the post-split number. It was we've been writing this, and it's funny. I like to brag about a stock that we've been trading really, really well. I'm now looking at like, why didn't I buy it in my stock portfolio? Why didn't I put a big chunk in there and let it ride? But hey, we'll catch the next one. So far, so good there with ANET. Give me some feedback in the chat if you made some money with ANET. Tom, SEC announced yesterday it has established a task force to get crypto rules and regs done. Yes, that was bullish news. Awesome, Stacy. Rob. Cyrus says he hasn't lost trading ANET so far. That's right. I love it. All right, let's go ahead and fly through the morning market update. Take a look at here we are with the economic reports. It's a bit of a quieter week as far as economic data coming out. We did have the jobless claims come in a little bit higher than expected. However, the markets really didn't move much on the news. Typically, we see it be a little bit more sensitive to this, but it didn't really move much. I'm guessing, and this is at 11 a.m. this morning, President Trump is going to be speaking at a conference over in Switzerland with a lot of economic leaders. I think that's what everyone's kind of tuning in and waiting for right now. So again, we're about an hour away from that. This could be, this could send some ripples through the market depending what he says. Almost like a Fed day with Jerome Powell. Maybe a little bit more impactful than what we've seen lately with Fed days, just because this is we're just getting the ball rolling here. So we'll see what happens there. Excited to see, maybe he will talk about crypto. That'd be cool. For all the Bitcoin bulls here. Nice, George. Made 70% on the bull call spread on ANET. Awesome. As far as where the market's at this morning, let me get an updated screenshot for you guys here. Again, I post this right at the market open, but here's where we currently are. You can see here, Bitcoin is moving. So when I first took it this morning, Bitcoin is at 104. Actually, when I first took it earlier this morning, it was like 102. We're now at almost 106. This is the futures market, so your spot Bitcoin will be right around 105. But very bullish there. Rest of the market is kind of flat. And again, it could be anticipating what Trump's going to say. It also could be that we just had a great last couple of days, a little bit overcooked. I'm going to show you exactly where I think we are, where I think stocks will go or will not go over the next week or so. But looking forward into next week, We've got another big week of economic news coming up. One of the bigger weeks. We have the interest rate decision on Wednesday. Here's everything, all the three-star reports, the most important, impactful reports. I highlighted here what I think is the most important of the most important reports. And these are pretty powerful stuff. 2 p.m. next week, we have the interest rate decision. Will they cut? Will they hold? I'm guessing just keep it as is. No cuts. I don't think they'll be increasing the rates at the moment. But then Jerome will speak and kind of give his outlook for the year. My expectation is that he's going to say, given the data, given the strength of the economy, we don't see any need for further cuts. It's kind of been his tune for the time being. Like I've been saying for 2 years now, all it takes is a couple bad reports, and then he changes up his tune pretty quickly. And that next report that'll be pretty impactful is coming out the next morning. GDP and jobless claims the next morning at 8:30 before the market open. If we see GDP drop, that could be a sign of a weakening economy. And again, these things tend to make moves in the markets, but again, they almost feel random at this point because you'll get one good report, then one bad report a few days later, then one good report a few days later. We're really looking for some directional trend in the economy of where are we really headed. So that's next week. This is something to keep in mind. I'm going to talk about how to maybe play this before Wednesday, as Wednesday's Fed announcement, how we can maybe make some money off of it. But before I do that, I'm going to fly through, for the people who missed last week, the Trump stocks that I picked out. I'm not going to go into detail, but just get ready to write down some of these tickers. These are the stocks I think will do the best under the new administration. First one is Tesla. I think we all have a good idea of why with Elon Musk. Tesla's my first pick. Meta. I'm going to talk a little bit about Meta today and how I'd like to trade it with you guys. But Zuckerberg is on Team Trump now, it seems. Nuclear stocks, GEV. I've been pounding the tables on GEV for a while now. I've got a pretty huge stake in it. It is slightly up today. Yes, Stacy, you were right there. But I mean, let me show you guys this stock. We got in when it was a spinoff from GE, so I was gifted the shares. But look at this thing; it's been a rocket. I mean, from 120 to 428 over the last year. That's not even a full year. It split off back in March, and it's up 300% or whatever, 200, 300% on the stock. It's been a monster. Another more speculative play, and this screenshot was from just the other week, Oklo, and I didn't even update this morning. This was last week's Monday, or excuse me, last week's Thursday opening bell session. I said, you got to get some Oklo. It's at $25. Well, fast forward 1 week to this morning, it's at $35. So anyone who listened, you're up about 50% on the underlying stock in 1 week. That's how explosive this thing can be. Did anyone here get any Oklo? Again, this is a very volatile stock. It's not something I would put my entire life savings into. But it is a very, very explosive one that's just seen really fast growth. Now, I might not buy here at 35 because it's rocketed, but if you bought last week, doing good so far. Other stocks I really like, and someone posted this in the chat, HWM. It's an aerospace company. I really like the aerospace, the defensive sectors right now. GE is my other defensive pick. GE just had earnings yesterday or this morning. They had earnings this morning. Stocks up 8.5% on earnings this morning alone. So these both look really good. I put RTX and LMT in here as well. I personally don't have a stake in them, but they're ones that I'm watching just to see what happens here as things progress. I also love gold. All right. So did everyone get those? Richard, wow, Oklo long since 10. Love to see it, Richard. For the charts of the week, this is just where I'm going to cover a few things I saw, a few nuggets. Bitcoin, everyone's asking about Bitcoin. Typically, it has 4-year cycles where we go bear market, the pre-bull market, kind of just stagnant, not much going on. First bull market and second bull. So first bull, second bull. You can see it here play out over and over again. So that means we are right about here, if we can update the chart, where historically we'll see another big year in crypto. Now, I will show you what I believe will happen, which is I believe we're going to have a good run up through summer. And that's hopefully by then we're hitting my profit targets, and I'm able to take some profits there to then get out before the next bear market, which, again, we don't know that's happening without a doubt. It could explode even higher from my price target, which is about, I'm going to take some profits at 125, some at 150, and let some of the rest ride. But that's kind of my thinking right now is July. Hopefully by July we're around that range. Take some profits. Another chart of the week, and you might just want to take a screenshot of this if you didn't see it yet. But Pelosi had some moves in the portfolio, and we all know that Pelosi is the greatest stock trader of all time. It's amazing how that happens. And probably absolutely zero insider news. I doubt she knows anything about insider news going on at all in the government. There's no way. How could she? I'm just joking. I'm not saying she is or isn't, but she's been right more often than not. So here's some of the positions she took: Amazon options, Google options. I love both those stocks too. Um, TEM options and VST options. The TEM position was a bit smaller. She also goes very in the money and does leap. So this isn't like your swing trade, but VST's up like 4 or 5% since this list came out. Um, TEM rocketed on the news as well. But these are things that she's added to her portfolio for like buy and hold sort of positions. Again, I think her average annual return is like 45% in the markets, which is nuts. So just always important to pay attention to. I'm not going to speculate too much here. But those are your tickers for you. Write them down. For the seasonals, where we're at seasonally speaking, January is typically a bullish year. However, in the first year presidential cycle, there's some more specific data we can hone in on. This one below here, we've talked about this over and over again. When the Q1 low is lower than the December low, typically that means a down year in the markets. However, we have this other one here that's kind of speaking contrary to that. Whereas if January finishes higher for the month and it's a first year presidential cycle, typically markets go higher for the year. Right now, the SPY would have to just hold above 589 between now and the 31st, so about a week out. To give you an idea, SPY is currently at 606, so I've got a pretty good feeling it's going to be positive in January, which means this thing we can kind of take this chart and say, well, there's nothing very specific it's given us. What you'd like to see is two things line up together to get a good idea of the direction of the market. If not, I kind of just keep the seasonality with a grain of salt here. Because it's not crystal clear. But we'll see. We'll check back in next Thursday to see where we stand with this seasonality. Manny says, thanks for the Pelosi stocks. How about taking a look at stocks at Major Taylor Greenbot, that she is chairwoman of subcommittee? Yeah, definitely. I mean, the politicians, if you look at the politician trades, that's why there's a lot of talk about banning trading among politicians. If they're the ones voting on it, I don't see them voting yes to ban themselves on trading. But hey, most of the politicians are beating the markets, so definitely a great idea there, Manny. So market overview: where are we? Where do we stand? What do we see coming next? This is what I showed you guys last week. I said I think we're going to get a rally here through January. I said we'd be in the 600, 605 range. Is what I told you. And then I said, I think we're going to consolidate a bit and then head lower before we go to all-time highs. We got very close to all-time highs. We actually hit 607 yesterday. We're at 605 right now. So right just above that range that I laid out for you guys. But so far, if you guys followed along, took some of the trades with me last week, we're sitting up pretty good right now. However, so if I'm going to adjust this, it's not even a line. If I'm going to adjust this to where we currently are, we're really like right about here. Make it a little bigger for you guys. So this is where we currently are in the markets, roughly speaking. But I still think these arrows hold true. I think we're going to be up here, parked out for a little bit, and then heading lower starting in February. And I'll walk you through. So here's what the prediction was. Here's what came next. Broke through that range, but still not at all-time highs. If we get a big gap into all-time highs, I'm going to go ahead and probably say that this may not happen exactly as lined out. But this is my analysis, me looking at the data, saying where I think things are headed. So this still is my hard right edge, what I'm going with in the markets, and I'll walk you through exactly what that means now. Overall sentiment in the markets: fear and greed index right there, kind of in the middle, that neutral range. Kissed extreme fear for one day. I said when it gets to extreme fear, typically you want to buy. I think that was the day the markets bottomed out on January 13th. We went higher from there. Now we're kind of in that neutral range. But if we're looking at the stocks above the 50-day moving average, kind of giving us a good overall health of the market. Last week, we were at only 25% of stocks above their 50-day moving average. So this is a good kind of trend idea of overall market trends, how are stocks doing? Right now, half of stocks are above their 50-day moving average. So definite strong bounce back. However, this is kind of what you want to see. This range up here for a good, healthy, strong market in the 60s to 70s. We're not there yet. We're still way down here. As far as stocks over their 200-day moving average, this one's still pretty low in my opinion as well, in the 50s, but this hasn't really moved much over the month, minus that quick dip we had just recently on the 13th. Now, this is what I really am looking at right now. This is the put to call ratio, basically how many put options are bought over how many call options are bought on any given day. And it tells us if the reading is above 1, that means the bears are kind of taking over, or there has been a lot of put buying. Typically, when we see a spike way above 1, that typically means it's a good time to buy the bottom. So we saw it back here in August. That's why I had that class on August 6th to say buy the bottom, because I think markets are going to go higher. We saw that going into the elections. I think that was just a hedge play. However, on the flip side, when there's a lot more calls traded than puts, we're going to see that number drop below 1 and into these extreme 0.75 and lower ranges is typically where you say, there might be a little bit too much buying going on. We might be a little bit overextended at the moment. So what this reading means to me is that I think this is a sign that we've probably peaked out short term. Now, that said, a lot can happen. Again, a new administration is in office. There's a lot that can happen right now with the news that can say, that can be a catalyst further higher. However, just speaking generally, this says that the markets may be topped out for the time being. If we look back here to mid to late August going into September, we saw this reading before, right? Everyone can see that down below 0.75. And let's see what happened last time. That's where the reading tipped out. Markets consolidated, headed lower. Markets exploded. I think we're going to see some consolidation and head lower. I don't think this means we're going to all-time lows or bear market or anything. But for short-term market action, I expect some consolidation, markets heading lower. Funny enough, if you look here, the last time it was below 0.75 as well was November 11th. What happened on November 11th? Let's look. Markets peaked out, consolidated, headed lower. So again, it's just a sign that we might be peaked out short-term. Interestingly enough, if we don't break all-time highs, it will be a higher or a lower swing high, meaning that these peaks just decreased. So what's next? Again, this is that seasonality chart for the first-year presidential cycle that I've been showing you guys. We're looking a lot more like this green line right now, but we're still kind of in this range typically, and this has kind of been a big reason behind my prediction here that we'd rally through the end of January and then kind of sell off a little bit. Going into February is because that's what this chart says too. This is what I was saying earlier. You like it when everything kind of lines up and they're all pointing the same way. So we have the put call ratio saying we might be a little bit topped out. We have the seasonality here with the presidential cycle saying we might be a little bit topped out for the time being. Choppiness, consolidation, and then maybe a drop lower, which would be a good buying opportunity in my opinion. Let's see. Let me answer these questions real quick. Let's see what happens after President's speech. I agree, Cyrus. Dave, the Fear and Greed Index source. It's a CNN source. It just takes market internals. I'll post it here in the chat. It's pretty cool. It's a good gauge for me when we're in like really extreme greed. A lot of times that might be a time for taking profits. If we're extreme fear, a lot of times that's a good time for buying a dip. Stacy, with volume so low on now, do I take that into consideration? I do, Stacy, but again, I set a limit price. I don't want to force an order in. If I just set a market price on now on the options, I'd get filled at a very much higher price. Here's just a note I have for you guys. If you have a large SPY position or QQQ position or whatever, broad market position, given that I'm anticipating some consolidation here, it might be a good time to sell some covered calls for next Tuesday's expiration. Now, why did I pick next Tuesday? Well, because the Fed speaks on Wednesday. Don't really want to be on either side of that personally, just because it's so no one knows what's going to happen. So if you pick, if you're looking at the SPY and you go to the what day is Tuesday? Let me see. Tuesday's the 28th. So here, let me pull this up. Oh, look at that. Bitcoin flipped back down for us. Some volatility there with Bitcoin. 28th of January on the SPY. If you want to sell some covered calls, you can do that. Generate some income. Again, one contract is worth 100 shares. So if you have 200 shares of SPY, you could sell 2 contracts, generate a couple $100 there, assuming the markets consolidate. You can even go closer to the money if you want to. Sorry, this is kind of a small screen. So like say we think we're topped out here, no new highs, you can get $275 per contract. So again, if you have 100 shares, you can make an extra 276 if the SPY stays below here. And actually, even if it goes higher, you can still make money on the time decay. I'm not going to have time to go into all of that. So that's just a freebie kind of idea for you guys. As far as diving into the sectors, we've been covering this a lot. I'm not going to spend a ton of time here, but here's seasonally how each sector in the S&P performs in January and in February. I like to look a month ahead. Looking further ahead, this is really exciting to me. Very bullish sector seasonality. Every single sector goes up, historically speaking. I'm not speaking to the future, but in the past, every single sector has gone up in March, April, and May. This is, let's see how long this data is for. So 1990, so over the last 30 years, 35 years. Also, that marries up. Again, we like to see when two things match up, marries up with our seasonal pattern in the presidential cycle as well. March through May, very bullish. So that's something to really look forward to. As far as right now, it's kind of a mixed bag, and I'll walk you through what I'm seeing. So last week I said I like discretionary sector. I like the financials. Why would I like that? Because if we're looking here at the financials, it's bullish, and discretionary is bullish, and they're also, relatively speaking, the strongest sectors. Now, this week, notable shifts. There wasn't much shifts. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I said XLP, which is staples, taking that short or shorting stocks in the staples as a hedge. There was not much movement last week. The only thing that happened was the staples went lower. So that one was a great pick. If you got in on that as a hedge, it should have worked out. Everything else kind of remained the same. So my top and bottom picks for sectors for this week are the same picks as last week. Nothing's really changed too much. I still like discretionary stocks. I like financial stocks. A lot of the banks smoke their earnings. They look pretty good. I'm not sure what they're up to today. Let's take a look. Still riding higher today. They're still drifting higher. The financial stocks are. For earnings coming up, we've got a lot of companies reporting earnings. The big ones start next Wednesday. We've got Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, all on the same day. ServiceNow next Wednesday. I'm probably not going to trade the earnings unless I want to just have some fun. However, this is really important. This is where the market moving earnings data starts coming out. All right, let's dive into the nitty gritty, as I call it. Just some picks for you guys, so get ready to take notes. My top Apex signal of the week. Who was here last week? Because if you were here last week, you know it's been Meta 2 weeks in a row. Still looks really good to me. It's up nicely today, even with the markets down. The profit target price is 667. 667. The stop price is 499. So right now, Meta is at 625. That gives us about $40 of wiggle room. About 7% on the stock. So quite a bit of room here for growth for Meta. If it hits a profit target, again, you can take the stock. You can take the options. However, keep in mind, guys, Meta has earnings on Wednesday next week. So if you're trading options, you're going to be paying a lot of implied volatility if you're buying calls. If you're doing a wrap order or an elite option, or my debit spreads, you're going to be able to avoid a lot of that implied volatility. You'll avoid a lot of that IV crush when earnings does happen. However, earnings are uncertain events. So you might want to write this one down and say, hey, you know what? Let me take this one after earnings. Let's see the results. And then that could be a good one to jump into. However, I've done this too many times where I have a large position in a stock, a good stock. It happened to me on Nvidia, and I sold it right before earnings, thinking I don't want to ride the volatility, and then the stock pops 20% overnight, and you're like, shoot, that stinks. So Meta could go either way. However, really like Meta, great trend. Again, I like this stock too because Zuckerberg is kind of butting up with Trump right now. I think that only will help his company. For the hot sheet picks of the week, I'm going to give you the two that we covered over the last 2 weeks because they're still active. The first one is ServiceNow, ticker NOW. We've been making some good money on this one. There's a screenshot of my trade from the opening playbook session, up 102% on Now options. Again, they have earnings next Wednesday as well, but that one is a seasonal hold time through the 31st of the month. Typically, it goes up very nicely, like it has been for us. CRM was another pick of the week. I'm not sure how CRM is doing today. Let's see. CRM's flat today. My position was up 42%. Now it's up 48%. I just took a peek at it right now. This one, again, is a hold time through, let's see, the 3rd of February. 3rd of February hold time. They don't have earnings within that window. They got a pretty nice little dip here, which helps give us a little bit more upside maybe this time around. That pick is up 48% since last week. So for the newest hot sheet pick of the week, we have ticker SE. I've never traded this ticker. SE is C Limited. It's a great looking chart. Positive on Newton. It's got earnings coming up on March 3rd. So we got plenty of time here. It's an entry on the 21st of January. So 2 days ago was the entry signal. It's an 18-day hold time. So that takes us through February 8th. And it typically goes up 7.8% on the underlying stock during that time frame. George holding CRM wrap order up 47% now. Awesome, George. Gaston, any views on Apple? I'll actually be talking about Apple a lot next week before their earnings. So Gaston, I'll cover that next week. RJ, which a la carte services are these trades on? I'm not going to cover any of the full services here today. However, if you guys like the hot sheets or if you like these seasonality picks, I'll post this in here. I post it every week. We have a sheet of I made a sheet. It's a couple pages of stocks with their seasonality dates, kind of just like this. So you can see tickers with entries and exits. These are stocks that go up every year on the same dates for the last 10 years. So these are stocks that are very seasonally strong, very seasonally sound. And you can have the sheets right on your desk. They're free. You just pay for the shipping cost for us to ship them to you. Then you also get a PDF version online. RJ, if you want an a la carte service where I pick these trades, these seasonality trades for you, that will be on the next page. So once you get the free hot sheet, put in your information, cover the shipping costs, it'll take you to a page where it says, hey, do you want me to send you these picks every week with options done for you? That's where you can get that service. So I just posted that here in the chat if you guys want to grab your copy of the hot sheets. Can you explain it? You want to see a wrap order on C? Let's do one. It'll be fun. So if I'm going to look at C, let me make sure it's got good options here. Let's see. Got to fit this into the screen here. Let me do this. Probably help out. So we got SE typed in here. Again, here's our chart. Let me just hide Newton for a sec. So here's our good strong trend on the chart. Again, seasonally speaking, it's really good. What did I say? February 3rd? 31st, February 8th is the window. So I'm just going to get as close to February 8th as possible. That's this right here. It's got enough open interest and volume for me personally. And I would do a wrap order on it. That's how I trade. Let me check the prices really quick. That's actually a pretty good price there if we can get filled. It's pretty wide. So I'll type this up for you guys. March 3rd earnings. Yes, Stacy. So we should be good here. Manny says, hot sheet's great. Got it a long time ago. Awesome. Thank you, Manny. So SE, I got to pull up my notes. This always happens to me. Where I'm trying to type in the ticker and I hit enter. So ticker's SE. I'm going to go with the 7 of February 25th expiration or 2025 expiration. Looking, Dave, wouldn't a larger sample size be more reliable, like 30 or versus 10 year? You can, Dave, but there's not very many stocks that have gone up every year for the last 30 years. A lot of stocks didn't even exist 30 years ago. So I like the 10-year, Dave, but you can definitely, there's services out there that you can set the date range you want. On the hot sheets, how much is it to have the weekly pick sent to you? I don't know the exact information on that. Let me just post this here in the chat. Once you get the hot sheet, the next page will ask you if you want to get picks sent to you. I think it's $97 for a month or something. $6.95 is the shipping cost. Yes. All right. Let me get back to this. Spending too much time here. All right. SE, yeah, let's go one out of the money. We expect it to make a nice move, 7% move, so it should definitely cover this. You can even go two out of the money if you want. Let's do this. It'll be more fun. So I'll try to buy the 119 call, sell the 120 call. This is just how I like to trade. Actually, I was going to say I don't have time to cover the full wrap order trading right now, which is true, but I will be doing that on Tuesday, the 28th at 10 a.m. So I'll be doing my Tuesday trainings and show you exactly how I pick these trades. So right now it's trading at 39 cents. Our max profit, our max selling point is $1, which puts our max profit potential here at 156%, depending on what you get filled at. So let me go ahead and place one in here now. I'll let it sit. Again, the options, it's not like trading Amazon or Apple or Nvidia options where there's thousands and thousands of traders. It's a little bit lower volume, but it's enough. Should be enough to get filled. We'll see here. Also, the monthlies aren't any better. Interesting. But we'll let it sit. I'll let you know if it fills me. Rob, my sell price, typically what I like to do is just hold it for max value or max profit. So I would hold through the 7th. Regardless, if you guys want to set a profit target, you can. SE has earnings in March, so we're in the clear. All right. Everyone get that one here in the chat. Set a limit on that SE wrap. I'll show you real quick. I'm curious if we'll get any fill at all here. So here's my wrap order. Just make sure your market, it's not set to market order. That will just fill you at whatever price. It's not going to be a very good fill. Set it to a limit order. Gina's asking, why not do a credit put spread on SE? Gina, the problem is with the credit spreads, the credit put spreads, is that sometimes you'll get early exercised options, which can be a real pain for people. Let's see, everyone's getting filled at 44. Let's see if I can get filled at 44. Filled right away. Filled me at 44. Yep. Filled at 42. Nice, Carol. So hopefully that makes sense on why I don't do the credits. Just because, it's no fun getting assigned shares. It feels scary. Ultimately, you should be covered pretty good, but it can feel scary. It can cost margin. So that's why I switched to doing the debit spreads. Filled at 42. Nice, guys. All right, moving on. Typically here, next in the session, I cover my new momentum picks with Newton. However, I'm not going to do that today because I'm going to do that here in 27 minutes at 11 a.m. I'm going live to walk you guys through the Newton indicator, how it works, how we pick up on our new trades with that, and then a new pick I have for you guys today there. So that will be here at 11. I'm going to post a link here in the chat in about 10 minutes. Again, I'm capping myself at 45 minutes in this session because I got to get off and prepare for that class. Yes, Ed. Laura Lee, what is my profit target on SC? I want a full $1. All right, let's jump into some new trades. Here I took a screenshot of some of the trades we've been taking. Overall, so far so good. Has anyone been making money on these trades? I hope that this session that I've been doing weekly provides value for you guys. We're not going to win every trade. There's going to be losers. I'm going to put together a little trade tracker for fun for this. I got to catch up and go backwards and see all the trades we've taken so far so I can mark it down for you. But hopefully you guys have been learning and earning, as we call it here. First time here. Awesome, Omar. Hey, Jennifer. How are you doing? Awesome. Doing great. Cool. Well, this is, so far right now, the book looks pretty good, but let's see what we got coming up next. I do a monthly pick, a weekly pick, and an overnight pick if you're new here. So the monthly breakout I have right now is Netflix. They just smashed their earnings, and it looks like we're getting a little bit of an earnings drift, as we call it. What that means typically, the stocks who beat their earnings tend to go higher over the next few days. Netflix is one of those stocks that at the very least, it beat its earnings and it ended up going higher over the next month. Let's see. Missed its earnings, went lower the next month. Beat its earnings, went high, or missed it. This one that went higher. But I looked back in time. Typically, this one drifts for a month, and sometimes it's not a huge drift. But here with the wrap orders, we don't need a huge drift. So let me go ahead and select these options for you with Netflix. Again, I'm going to look to do a monthly trade on it. So that'll be the 21st of February expiration. I'm going to type this up for you guys. I'm gonna buy. See what it's 980, 985. Hopefully, we'll do it. Yeah, that looks about right. So I'm gonna buy the 980 call, sell 985 call. Currently, that's trading at 250. So that means if Netflix gains $2.50 over the next month, which is a quarter of a percent. So not a half percent, not 1%, a quarter of a percent over the next month, you double your money. This one you might need to wait a sec for it to get filled. But here you go. Here it is in the chat. Oh, it just popped up. Let's see, because Netflix is moving. Let me set it at 2.5. See if I get filled. You guys let me know if you get filled. I'll just let it sit because also this stock is so big, it can make that $2 move so fast where these options will move pretty quickly. See how it looks right now. Oh, it's having a very bullish day today. So there's, yeah, Netflix moving at the open. Let me see. If we don't get filled on this one, I'll just move the strikes, most likely. We got a good question here from David. If Netflix follows the S&P, why wouldn't it go down? Why not go out to March? David, it could, but typically, or I shouldn't say typically, even when the S&P is pulling back, it doesn't mean all the stocks are pulling back with it. This is a very strong stock, a very good company. So even if we do see a pullback, I expect this to be one of the stronger stocks holding up. That's why I like it right now. Has to go. Oh, I just got filled on at 250 on Netflix there. Just had the order get filled. It has to go up past your break-even price. Correct. Yes, Bill. For Netflix, for me to double my money, it needs to be above 985 by February 21st. So it barely moves. It gains points. I don't even know what that is here. 0.1% from here. And I can double my money. Pretty cool stuff. Netflix is increasing subscription prices. Yes, Cyrus. That's good news for Netflix because, and actually, it's a funny looking back. Netflix first announced that they were doing they're cracking down on multiple subscription users way back somewhere in here. And at the time, everyone's like, oh, that's bad news. Netflix is going to lose business. But if you think about it, no one canceled their Netflix. Everyone else who was just sharing accounts just signed up for an account. So now they have more accounts than ever. And they keep slowly increasing those prices, the inflation of Netflix, and nobody is really canceling. So that's why it's good news for them and why their revenue keeps growing. Gina, these sessions are recorded. Oh, David said the colorblind changes for Newton worked. Thank you. Thank you, David. Awesome. Glad to hear that. All good, Gina. So that's my monthly breakout. Let me just post this in here so my team has it. Oh, I just clicked the wrong button. Price filled was 250. If we go and close above 985 by 221, we make 100%. Sweet. Everyone got it? I got 6 minutes left here. So now we did the monthly play. Let's go ahead and do the weekly momentum play. Hopefully this one hasn't moved too much. Okay, cool. Another great stock. It has earnings coming up. Let me just shorten this up for you guys. HWM, I gave you that one earlier. It's just been an absolute beast for us. It has earnings coming up mid-February. I'm not going to trade it through that earnings. However, something that I find a bit bullish about this stock is that GE, one of its competitors, same industry, just smashed their earnings. So that has to, it doesn't mean without a doubt that HWM will smash their earnings again and again like they have. But it is kind of good news that if GE has some bullish news, HWM probably will follow suit. So let me go ahead and type up the HWM. This will be a weekly option. There is not much volume here. Oh, darn. And they have earnings. This would probably be a pretty good earnings play. Maybe I'll mark it down for next week. Their monthly options have great liquidity, but you'd have to hold their earnings. Yeah, this is so wide on the weeklies. Oh, no. Maybe I'll trade GE. Let's see what GEs look like. Those are pretty good. So GE just beat the earnings today. Let's go ahead and trade GE for a breakout post earnings, similar to that Netflix play. Looking for a drift here. For anyone curious again about if the markets are going down, if the SPY is going down, QQQ is going down, why would we trade this long? Well, this stock tends to do well even in pullbacks. It's an aerospace, it's a defensive stock, and that's why. So let me go ahead and take a look at these February options. Cyrus says, I'm already in GE doing good. That's awesome, Cyrus. I love this stock. See what the price is here. All right, this is a great price for us. So GE's right now at $200. If it gains about 1% over the next week, depending on our fill price, we'll get around double our money. So let me type this up for you guys on a wrap order on GE, the 200 and 202 calls. GE, this is the 7 Feb 25 expiration. We're going to buy the 200 call, sell 202.5 call. Right now it's trading at 120, so we'll do a little bit. If it GE closes next Friday above 202.50, so about $2 from here, we'll make a little bit more than double. Price move. There we go. I'm going to try and get 125 here. Filled right away at 125. I'm going to add a few here, actually. See if I get a little bit better price. Let's try 123. Right away at 123. Oh, 118. I'll move to 120. We'll see if 120 fills. 120 fills. All right. I'm going to put one more in. Just to see if I can add at 118. Everyone get that one? GE. So let me update this for people. GEB earnings. Hopefully we get a drift. We'll see. Defensive is very strong right now. Oh, nice. You got in at 116 on GE. Nicely done. What platform do you use? What brokerage? Just curious. Oh, I just got filled at 118. So I'll just put 120 here, probably my average fill. Which means if GE closes above our profit target next week, you do 250 on the spread divided by 120, 108%. 108% ROI. Getting great fills on it. Awesome, Gregory. Schwab. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I use Schwab too. All right. CYN. I just like to see some option volume. Uh, the market's always going to be market makers, but I will just try and get filled myself. If it doesn't fill easily at a price that I like, then I just move on to a different stock. That's why I like HWM. It was zeros across the board. I mean, I'll try and get filled just for fun to show, but like, look how wide the bid ask is. It's going to be nasty trying to get into this one. GE had some pretty great fills there. I mean, we had no problem getting in. Why did I do the February 7th? That is a great question. Why did I do the February 7th? My bad, guys. I should have done the January 31st for the weekly ones. Let's see if HWM, nothing on. All right. Well, I still like it for February 7th. I like the stock for even a monthly play right now. But you're right. I totally messed up, Dick. I should have done the 31st of January for the weekly breakout. Let me go ahead and update this. 117, same price, roughly speaking. I totally missed that. Good catch. Filled at 117. So if you guys want to adjust for the weekly ones, I'm just going to hold both at this point. Again, I think it's good for 1 week. I think it's good for 2 weeks. But great catch there. So really, in all reality, it should be the 31st January if we want to just do a weekly breakout. I can't believe I missed that, but thank you. In at 117 there for me. I just have to update this for the team so that when we share it later, you guys can get the exact information. So that'd be a 113 ROI. All right. Where is the problem? What is better in 31 than '07? There's no real problem. It's more so that I said we're going to trade it for weekly options, or only want to hold it for about a week breakout, and I accidentally went 2 weeks ahead. What is your target for the GE 7 February calls? Jim, it just depends what you want your target to be. My target's always the full max profit. So if you want a 50% target, you would set your limit sell price at what, 180, roughly speaking? Kenneth, do I use these trades with Newton or a scanner or indicator? I use both. So I have scanners that give me strong trending stocks, and I try and time it up with Newton as well. Phil at 117, cool. Gina says, easy to miss. You're going a mile a minute. Sorry. All right, I'm 1 minute over my time here. Let me don't put a closed order in. I just let it expire. That's right, East Road. I typically just let it expire. If it's in the money, both will exercise and offset each other, and I get the full profit. David said weekly GE filled at 115 on Tasty. Nice. Maggie says filled at 115. There you go. You guys are getting better prices than me. For the overnighter trade, this is for a stock that we think will go lower overnight. I didn't find one that I absolutely loved this morning. I don't know if I'm even going to force one, to be honest. I thought AVGO might look nice if we get a market drop today, but again, there's so much that can happen overnight, especially with President Trump speaking here in a couple of minutes. I'm probably actually going to pass on an overnighter, so I'll just say pass here. I don't want to force a trade. There was nothing I absolutely loved. Last week, can't remember what we did last week. Was last week ANET? Let me clear this out. These ones are fun. They're pretty binary in the fact that, like, hey, we're just going to try and stack the odds on our side. A lot of times I like to fade the market. So if we get like 3 down days on a good stock, I like to buy it. Or alternatively, if we get 3 up days on a bad stock, maybe we short it. However, right now, I don't feel super, super good about anything at the moment. So I'm just going to pass on the overnighter this week. Hopefully that's okay with you guys. And the reasoning makes sense. Oh, yeah, Lulu was last week. That was a good one. We did ANET the week before. So that's what I have for you guys today. Again, I didn't give you guys a Newton pick for the week. That's because I just posted the link in the chat. Here at 11 o'clock, I'll be going live with Newton. So in about 10 minutes, if you guys click that link in the chat, you can jump over to that room. I got to go get some water, get some food. Man, I guess it's not even 11 a.m. I'm getting kind of hungry right now. I'll go get some chow, and I'll be back at 11, guys. Yes, this call is every Thursday. Every Thursday at 10 a.m., we do this same sort of material. I give you new trades. I give you new stocks, new charts to look at. I always cover the seasonality. Those charts aren't going to change a whole lot, but I do update the market internals. So you're going to see different internals each week. We're going to see the reasoning. You're going to get my overall prediction for the market. So this week, the prediction was some consolidation, and then maybe in February, we start heading lower again, which lined up pretty perfectly with the put to call ratio. Right now, again, anything can happen. I'm not guaranteeing anything here, but we've been right so far. Again, here was the prediction. I should have posted the earlier one. The first session, I said we're going to break out lower. Then I said break out higher. Went a little bit higher than I expected, but I still think here we're going to consolidate and head lower. So again, click that link in the chat. We've got a Newton class coming up. I'll give you a free pick in there as well. The one that I didn't cover today. A little teaser to get you to go over there and join me at 11. Thank you guys all for being here today. Yes, David, that's a great point. 2 morning trade sessions next week. That is correct, David. Starting on this coming Tuesday at 10 a.m., I'll be doing a training session where we'll do some live trades together. So Tuesday training, Thursday is going to be the opening playbook, where it's going to be more of a market outlook. Where are we now? What do we like? What do we not like? And then Tuesdays will be strategy training. So that's going to be repeating every single week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. So if you like this session, hopefully you'll love the Tuesday ones as well. Let me know if you'll be there. Give me a yes in the chat if you'll be there on Tuesdays as well. A lot of yeses. Well, we probably just got 100 yeses.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It'll be a lot of fun. Thank you all for being here today. Hope you had a great time. Hopefully we make some more money this week. So far, so good. And I'll see you guys over in the Newton room. I'll post that link one more time here in the chat. Jump on over. Oh, thank you. Perfect. 10 a.m. Eastern each week, Kathy. So for the opening playbook and the Tuesday trainings are both going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern. Today at 11, so in 10 minutes, I've got a Newton presentation going on. Awesome. Thank you all for tuning in. Catch you in the next few minutes.
Bye. All right, guys, I'm gonna drop the link just a few more times in case anybody wants to grab that. I know the chat can be a little bit insane. So if you want to head over to his next call, just click that link. We're also redirecting the link you guys used to join this call to it. So in case you didn't get the text message or anything, or you want to join on a different device, just click the same link you used to join this call and it will take you right to the other one. Rhonda, we have customer service live. They should be able to help you. Or if you contact our team, we have trade analysts who can help walk you along with everything. So we have Chip and his team who can actually like sit down with you and answer any questions and help you kind of come up with a better strategy. But just give our team a call, send us an email, and they can totally help you out with that.